Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight. This is Kev, and welcome to another edition of BMBBH. Let's talk about something a little serious tonight. We're going to discuss black men's mental health and what we have to deal with on a day to day basis, and the increased suicide rates among black men as well, and what we can do to really have this discussion with each other so we can all take the first steps toward visiting what is actually bothering us with an amicable solution. So I mean, just and here's the guy you see on the screen here, Steven DJ Twitch Boss. Like, I didn't even know who this guy was until he killed himself. I understand he DJ'd on the Ellen DeGeneres show for years, and his cause of death is a suicide from what the information that was being put out here. So I mean, I think it's a really sad thing that not only that when anyone commits suicide, but um, hey, can y'all hold for one moment, please? Okay, all right, all right. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. All right, for any of y'all who might have been fans of this man, really sorry you lost someone that you were a fan of. Like I said, I didn't know very much about this guy. I didn't know very much about this guy until he was in the news and he killed himself. So I'm not gonna be fake about this. I'm not. I'm not gonna be fake about this. All I could do is empathize on the outside looking in, because I don't like this. I don't like this thing happening with black men where we can't be as mentally as strong as possible to be able to conquer the adversity. And the reason for that is being that some of us just we aren't strong enough, and we are expected to display this astronomical amount of strength to the point where we can deal with anything and anyone. And listen up, everybody. Listen up. And I got to give some shout outs in the chat, because I mean, if you are a black person, let alone a black man, and this is to you black men out here, and you go on a week to week basis without punching someone in the face, then I have to give it to you, man. I have to give you a completely huge pat on the back, because it's tough. It's difficult to deal with a society that really looks at you like you're a slow moron. And we've had to deal with that during Jim Crow. We're not going to even go back to slavery, because that was a completely awful time period in our country. We dealt with it post Jim Crow, during the 70s, during the free love movement, during the feminist movement, during the tough on crime era. Is always a pressure on us to be absolutely, like, just the most steel chested, uh, strongest individuals ever. And you know what, though? If you can achieve that level of mental and emotional strength, you deserve a pat on the back. I am on black men's side, unless you're wrong. Unless you're wrong. And that's with anybody. I don't have any ill will toward, like, too many people. Now, I mean, I could care less about, I would say, a racist skinhead, or you know, or a bleeding heart misandrous. But at the same time, it's like I'm a person that doesn't let too many things slide, because when you have to internalize too many things, then it kind of takes its toll on you. So yeah, so just look, give yourself some encouragement because the way that, like, okay, as TMZ reported Stephen Twitch Boss's death, um, it looks like that it might have been a suicide because they found a letter, and they were saying that it was implicating that he was still dealing with past issues, and who knows what those issues were or what those issues are. But the fact of the matter is that he's gone right now. I mean, he was beloved by a certain community of people. He was well known. Well, I didn't know him, but it's a shame for those who did. It's a shame for those who did. So rest in peace, black man. Um, but I'm gonna make a little confession about like suicide. At one point in my life, I was very apathetic about this issue. This was a while ago, and understand when I say all this that I was a person that had some maturing and some growing up to do when I had these thoughts about people who committed suicide, and I even said this about Robin Williams when he killed himself. I really and this is me being part of the problem. And part of being a mature adult in an individual is taking accountability. Taking accountability for the kind of person that you were, taking accountability for the kind of person you are. And we talk about accountability all the time in these spaces. I used to think people who committed suicide were cowards. Now that might hit some of y'all in the chest. Some of you may, been related to a person that committed suicide. But there were many, many things that I did not take into account when I had that thought process. Number one, what a person goes through on a day-to-day basis. Number two, the issues they are dealing with. Number three, what's currently happening to that person. Now, when you start thinking about like things like suicides and how it affects black males, you can go think to things like, they served in the military, they had a job to where they had to look at certain things that stuck with them forever. I will tell you one job that is like that, a person who is into computer forensics, because those are the people that have to go after the child predators. And they go, imagine it. They're going through laptops, computers, hard drives, and the kind of things that they find in those laptops, in those computers, in those hard drives is things that you cannot unsee. But they had to look at that stuff in order to seek justice for whoever were the victims. But see, people in computer forensics, and you can do your research like on this, they don't last very long in those professions because of that stuff. It takes a mental toll on them. So my young, insensitive, past ass did not understand these kinds of things. I just thought that a person that committed suicide just chickened out. And if that offends any of you out there, I totally understand. I really do. I totally understand. These are people who have given up on life because of the kind of person that I used to be. I'm deeply ashamed of ever thinking that way. I am. And to those who I might have offended in the past by making statements like that, I will tell you this: I was not a perfect person, but I do realize the error of my ways. The whole point of me even like saying this kind of thing is the fact that I do understand how regular people can have an impact on the mental health of a person. And like I was saying before, we as black men are treated as if we have to have this impeccable strength. Like we are treated like we're steel chested, that we have the ability to put up with everyone's shit with no problem. The person on the other side usually um, is not dealt with. And a lot of black men see this stuff and we feel as if there would never be any justice. Like I obviously like and I'm like and speaking on myself again, I became a person that really felt like that I could not approach anyone with my problems. I'm not telling you guys not to go to therapy, not to seek a therapist. I'm not going to do that because that would be extremely asinine. It's just the fact that black men's pride is so up there, so strong to the point where asking someone for a little mental guidance and help just seems kind of weak. And, at the end of the day, we should not feel that way when it comes to visiting our mental health. Now, let's talk about the subject matter for a second because I'm still a person that has a hard time accepting whether I would have to go through some type of therapy for some type of emotional peace. It's just that to me, I guess I've been programmed and indoctrinated to believe that me reaching out to a person is weak because every time that I have done it is always people putting their foot on the gas, people trying to come up with the easiest solutions to the hardest problem. And I had to learn how to trust myself a lot more because of that. It is the feeling that you can't approach anyone with your problems is something that I would not wish on another person. I've learned how to deal with it. If I had two or three people that I could approach, I felt very funny doing it. Just sitting up there talking about problems, talking about feelings because of my disposition as a black man. I don't know if a lot of you out there have felt this same way. The fact that you feel as if you cannot talk to anyone. Even if you have family, even if you have a good friend group or whatever, you pretty much have this sinking feeling that deep down you're always on your own. This is why I have such serious problems when people start speaking on stuff like, racism and unity, and we got to unify or get it back together because we can't even deal with basic shit, basic emotions that a person feels. We can't even do that. But we want to sit up there and call ourselves slaying dragons that don't even matter at this point. I'm not saying racism doesn't matter because I hate racism, but I don't believe that it has had a sincere approach in very, very long. I made a broadcast 2 weeks ago, and I said, uh, looking at race symbolically is nothing but virtue signaling if you're not going to put a tangible with it, or you're not going to try to make some type of difference. You might as well sit down and shut up. Just like I feel at times when I'm having an issue, when I'm having a feeling, when I'm having a problem, I'm just like, damn, who can I talk to about this? I better go ahead and internalize this because really, the world really does not give a fuck about black men, let alone an individual black man. And I'm not trying to victimize black men. I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm not trying to say that everyone else is the villain and black men aren't. There are some very problematic black men out here. But hopes and conversations like this is that we get the help that we need before something bad happens. Because after which, there's no more you can do. Say, for instance, if you're having a mental breakdown, then let's get that man some therapy, or let's get that woman some therapy. But once they cross that line and harm somebody else, like saying kill an old lady, kill another dude, kill a child, or do something very awful to that person, there's nothing else that we can do. We didn't even try to solve the problem before it got started. So why is it? And let's go to the topic. Why in the fuck would a lot of us be saying that black men need therapy? Because when people, like, I would say 85% of the time say that, it's gaslighting. It's not sincere. It's another way, it's another translation of saying black men need to shut up. And that is cruel. And I guess from the way that especially American black men are looked at, we have to deal with the cruelty. We have to take it on the chin. A black man like me is gonna tell you, black man, no the fuck you don't have to take it on the chin. No the fuck you don't. How would you like you had a shit ton of problems and you couldn't approach anyone with them? Seriously. And then when you see somebody say, "Well, black men need help in therapy because they doing podcasts or something like that," you need to cuss that bitch out. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. Cuss that bitch out. Needing therapy goes beyond venting on a podcast. And actually, I would have to say this: it's one of the biggest forms of victim blaming ever. Even though I don't want to make black men into victims, it's the biggest form of victim blaming ever. Topics like this aren't very popular because it takes some corrective verbiage in order to get through it. And most of us don't like being corrected. So how can you sit up there and sincerely say that people need therapy if you don't even like being corrected? A lot of the times, the people that say that you need therapy are the ones that's projecting the fact that they need therapy themselves. Shit. And I'm not saying don't go get therapy. I'm not saying that. I think I stated that already. I ain't say don't go get therapy. I'm not saying it's wrong for you to go get therapy. What I'm saying is make sure it's a sound decision and make sure it's not to the behest of the advice of a fucking piece of shit that has no good intention for you. There's many ways that you can do therapy. There's many ways. Hey, you could be your own therapist. You give yourself a spa day, although I think that's something more along the line of what females do. But there's nothing wrong with a man going to get the massage every now and again. Hell, sometimes, therapy is playing a video game. When I used to get really mad with people, especially at my job, and I know that I know that I couldn't look for a crazy solution or anything like that. I used to play a fighting game. I mean, shit. I don't care how badly you punch a computer generated image. You're not hurting anyone. Some people have those little balls they squeeze at the desk. Some people, take their frustrations out at the gym. But at the end of the day, life is pretty frustrating. Even for like rich people, life is frustrating because they get what they want at the drop of a dime, literally. They're always looking for something else. But here's the real reasons that like we are here at this point. If you are a person, and let me go ahead and change. Yeah, because that's what I mean by a rich person. Someone who is mega successful but has all kinds of issues that he or she cannot deal with because they are looked upon as Superman and and Superwoman, and it's just y'all got to be thinking. Look, if I'm a millionaire celebrity, that's a whole new set of problems. Your problems don't go away just because you have a bunch of money. Mike Tyson even said this a few times. Imagine every time you shed a tear or every time something weird happens in your family, the whole world is laughing at you because they feel like that it is your responsibility to fix everything. That's a lot of pressure. That is a whole lot of pressure. And not saying that, Will Smith or anybody like him should not be an accountable adult, an accountable human being, because that's where we are with it. Of course, people like Will Smith need to be accountable for his actions. But what gets us to that point? What got Will to that point? What gets anybody to that point? Now, yeah, I pull all kinds of pictures off social media. I pull, like, a lot of these dudes be at the edge of their own fucking sanity and sometimes off themselves over a female. I do believe for these kinds of females, those kinds, there are other kinds of females, but let's just talk about a certain kind, the bitch. These are usually women that don't understand or they don't care about the impact that they put on their men. Like, imagine being someone that goes out of your way to please a woman and she's never satisfied. You love, cherish, honor, adore, respect. All you want to do, just like this dude right here, all you want to do is prove that you are worthy. And men very often psych themselves out on shit like this. Spain man, thank you for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Any support is greatly appreciated. I mean, if you believe that we're just trying to come up here and genuinely have these conversations and we're not grifting like, people like to say. And that's another thing that pisses me off. It seems as if every time a black man does something, there's a problem with it. But let's get back to what I was saying before. Now, for those of you who like to sit up there and say, "Oh, they love talking about women," I'm not talking about all women. So if you're not a stupid, disgusting, argumentative bitch, then I'm not talking about you. All I'm saying is this: sometimes women don't understand the impact they have on their man's mental health. Sometimes they don't, and I really believe that needs to change. Man, I ain't have my little ticker scrolling at the bottom. Please be mindful of the ticker. If you are new to this channel, go below this screen and hit the subscribe button. I am a pretty level headed guy that is regarded as a member of the black manosphere. Maybe one of the lesser known ones, but that's going to change in 2023. And what we need to do is we need to reach out to black men because, like, just because we say black men need therapy, I mean, there's all kinds of therapy. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to go pay for a therapist to tell you shit that a lot of people are already telling you. So it's like this though. Imagine spending all of your time, and you're gonna call brothers weak for this shit, and you might call them simps too. Spending all your time trying to please a woman with the demeanor that this woman has in the picture, and then you still end up failing. That can take a toll on a man. And I'm not trying to make brothers look weak. I'm trying to say, hey, that there are some problems out there. Any female that listening or might listen to this, you need to understand. Yes, you do have an emotional impact on men. Some men have actually given up on you, and those dudes are better off for that shit. Like if because like I said, everybody ain't the same. Everybody ain't strong. Everybody ain't strong, and I'm not. It's like I'm not talking about me because I really don't give a fuck at the end of the day about a person who establishes themselves as an opponent, as an opposition. I don't care about you. But we as black men have been so programmed to believe that this is the ultimate end all, be all. You get you a woman that is for you, then everything is gonna be okay. And a lot of brothers get to that point, they finally get the one they want, and they find out all of that is bullshit. And it takes a toll on them mentally. Imagine being someone that does everything right and everything still ends up wrong. Yeah, shoot. This is why this is why you got men talking about I'm going my own way. This is why you got black men talking about saving themselves. And then even when black men depart like that, they still got a community of people trying to shit on them. So what you want those brothers to do? You want them brothers you want them brothers to come back and deal with your shit so they can need therapy for real? For everything that we've been through in this country as blacks, for all of the virtue signaling I see on the mainstream media and social media from day to day, black people should support black people more than anyone. Anyone. You should have my back as a black person if you are a black person. And that is the framing that we present to ourselves and each other every fucking day. And every fucking day we make lies out of ourselves. So what happens to this brother right here? He gets laughed at. It is implied that he is sexually inept because his woman acts like that. He is blamed. Be this brother in public and your woman acting all out of character. Everyone in the surrounding area will laugh at you. Even though it may be a genuine problem, even though it might be it might be a serious situation, they're not going to take it seriously on behalf of the guy. So you have to be a strong person if you're a black man. You ain't got a choice. Period. Don't even leave yourself a choice, because once you do that, you're going to make yourself into a vulnerable ass human being that is subject to anyone's mistreatment, and you're going to drive yourself into the point where you're walking out in traffic getting hit by a truck. Because these motherfuckers out here these days will drive you nuts. So let's look at an article that I pulled up dealing with the mental health of a black man. And believe me, I will never, ever gaslight or indoctrinate a black man that is going through some serious mental health issues. Unless, of course, he's being a weirdo or a internet stalker or something like that. And we do have some of those. All right, I pulled up this article right here. And, this come from a website called Everyday Health. And, excuse me, the pre-title is emotional health. I guess the category is emotional health. Says 5 reasons suicide is on the rise in the black community, according to a psychiatrist. It says underneath, suicide rates are climbing in black communities around the United States. Psychiatrist Patrice Harris, MD, a former president of the American Medical Association, discusses what factors may be driving this increase. Now, let's see if the person has come close. I mean, she has credentials. She she probably has a wall full of degrees, and I understand, like, with many people that watch this program or watch this space have a hard time trusting females. And quite frankly, I don't blame you for what has been on display. For what's been on display. I'll say that. So let's I'm not gonna read the rest of this article. I kind of scanned through it earlier. And it's saying the first face they put up there is a black guy. Is a black man. That's the first face. Because they understand that this is impacting us and we're not being made aware of this. Some of these dudes have such disregard for themselves that they don't care about anyone else. So they say, what's driving the rise in suicides among Black Americans? Okay, these are the reasons she came up with. Social media, number one, social media ramps up pressure to fit in. Um, I can speak for myself when I say I don't give a fuck about fitting in. It was a major issue with me when I was a child, some as a teenager. I think it stopped when I was about in 10th grade. It took me a long time to sign up with the idea that social media actually exists. It's like I was probably one of the last few people from Generation X to actually sign up for Facebook. It's like I had resisted it for a while because my feeling were people were too trendy. People follow trends a little bit too much. And there's nothing wrong with following a trend as long as that trend is helpful and doesn't make you into a superficial crybaby. But I don't know if this exactly is a good reason. I mean, is a psychiatrist, and maybe she talked to some people on the couch about, I got this Instagram account. Oh, I got this Facebook account. I'm trying to get all these followers, and no one likes me. You know what I'm saying? Like without telling people that some things are just for some people and other things are just for other people. But I would have to chalk this up to I won't let social media affect me that much because social media and a lot of people do hate the internet and social media for the simple reason that it has exposed a lot of idiots and a lot and you would not have any idea how many black people are just blatantly evil to other blacks. And the ones that try to keep everything cool and peaceful are the ones that are the most attacked. The ones with common sense is the one that's the most attacked because everybody wants their little nigga moment. I can't say too much about this is because social media, as much as it kind of hurts people, it also can help. See, we're on social media right now. YouTube is social media. So, but let me just read through this a little quickly. Social media is undeniably pervasive as it's made its society incredibly voyeuristic, as it's given people nearly unlimited access to view others' lives online. This can make people feel pressured to conform to an idea, and pressure associated with social media is one potential cause of increased suicides among black people. Unfortunately, we've seen increased suicide numbers in black people, particularly in youth over the last decade. Although there is not Although there is no one causal factor for this, it is important to remember that we live in an age where most people are connected to social media, which comes with the pressure to create an image like we're living perfect lives. This is especially true for our young people who might feel extreme pressure to live in a certain kind of life or compete with their peers' appearance. This kind of pressure can negatively affect one's sense of self worth, identity, and sense of belonging, especially among young people. You know how you solve that? Turn the goddamn computer off and go outside. But let's go ahead and feel empathy for people who might have hurt themselves over this one thing. My advice to you is don't. Don't. People are idiots, but they are humans just like you. If you give them the power to shape you and mentally and emotionally, then maybe you deserve to be in the mental state that you're in. Let's be harsh about this. Ain't nothing easy for me as a black man out here. People will shit on me in a second. But I realize everybody ain't me. So let's go through and we need to probably approach this matter with a bit more empathy. But now they're talking about cyberbullying. Cyber, like I said, turn the computer off. Cyberbullying, which has become increasingly common among preteens and teens because of social media, is likely another contributing factor for the increased number of suicides in Black communities around the country. Mm. Yeah, because really, like cyberbullying is like it's a different monster than bullying because you can't punch that person in the face when they say something to you. Violence isn't always the solution, but in some cases it sure does help. And until this day, it really doesn't matter what age you are in the present day and age. Cyberbullying can affect you even in a later age. Some people want to be bullies and some people won't let you do it. So hey, they turn to that stalking. Hell, I had an internet stalker prank call my wife. An internet stalker prank called my wife because I basically roasted her drug addicted ass. I'm sitting up here like, bitch, your police record is all over all over the internet. What the fuck are you even approaching me for with anything? But I want to call my wife and tell a bunch of lies because that person in particular is a fucking loser. And that's not me being a cyberbully. Now, there's two sides to every story. But see, that's how I deal with cyberbullying. I just cuss them out and keep moving. I put a mirror in their face, and that'll hurt them more than anything. And I'm not a perfect individual by any means, but god damn it, shit, I had a right to stick up for myself. And my suggestion is that you guys out there do the same, and don't get mad with people like me for doing it. All right, number 2. Mental health stigma impedes Black people. Look at this shit right here. Get off my screen. Mental health stigma impedes Black people from seeking help. So Dr. Harris goes on to say that stigma surrounding mental health issues and seeking help from mental health professionals has also played a role in the rising suicide rates among Black people. Basically, they're saying that we're ashamed to go seek therapy. We've been bombarded and bashed about, our thinking and our brain so long. We don't want people to believe that we actually need help. Sometimes, but see, here's another side to that. Sometimes when you do seek some type of mental health or some therapy, or you seek the health of others, I forgot what I was gonna say. There's noise going on in the background. I'm a little ADD. I'm sorry. Well, let me just read the second paragraph. A person might think I'm having these issues, but I'll keep them to myself because if I seek help, I will be seen as crazy or weak. Now, wasn't that what I was saying earlier? Wasn't that what I was saying earlier? See, I didn't need to even be a doctor to figure that out. Let me highlight that. Because this right here, I feel is very important. A person might think I'm having these issues, but I will keep them to myself because if I seek help, I will be seen as crazy or weak. There's a stigma in the Black community that if you have a mental disorder, that's a sign of a character flaw or weakness instead of what it truly is, a diagnosis that can be treated and managed. What do they say about Black men who, are acting like, what like they say acting a fool or, just being an all-around gangsta ass person. Nobody ever takes the things that this guy has gone through mentally. It's almost as if people are suggesting that a lot of Black men are just predisposed to being bad people. Therefore, if I seek help, I'm admitting that I'm somehow this bad person, or people think that I'm somehow crazy. And I gotta say this: it's the crazy people that don't seek help. And I have to admit, I'm a little crazy myself because it's like I'm a person that internalizes things and digests it and shit it out. It is so difficult for me to approach a person with one of my problems right now. It is so difficult, and this ranges from friends, family, just about anyone. Because the one thing that you get told on a regular basis, and I'm sure many of you have heard this, is that no one cares about your problems. No one cares. Everybody got problems. Everybody this, everybody that. But when people say that shit, they don't understand that a lot of your problems are unique to you. Hell, it may be a problem that requires someone to go to jail in order for your utmost protection. But we always like it's like this part right here is not only self-inflicted, but when you go to try to go to somebody, they'll do this exact thing. They will do this exact thing. So let me go ahead and continue to read. It said the stigma has a myriad consequences for black communities, including preventing many black people from seeking the help they need, causing them to repress their symptoms instead. It has also perpetuated the false notion that black people do not experience mental illness or suicide, which is a very sad fucking thing. Very sad. And like I said, that's why I have a problem with the virtue signaling of racism. There's nothing wrong with liking to be black, but you got to go full throttle with that shit. Can't just do it sometimes. When your brother or sister comes to you seeking help, the last thing you should do is gaslight. Maybe there is a real problem. All right. But, I'm going to put the link to this article because, I'm not going to read through this entire thing. Number three, treatment is often less accessible to black people. Hmm. Let me read into that statement a little bit like this. When you're a black person in America, who do you know that truly help you with your who do you assume actually that can truly help you with your problems? Now, if you're saying that, hey, you know what, I'm a black man, I need a black man therapist. I'm a black woman, I need a black woman therapist. Before you make that judgment or assumption, what was the source of all of your mental misgivings in the first place? Think about that, and then it and if you're coming up with, oh, okay, it was a black man that made me like this, it was a black woman that made me like this, blah blah blah. It's the fucking American Western society that made me like this. Then maybe you need to rethink the archetype of who you believe your therapist should be. Also, therapy is very expensive. As much as we love to call each other broke, a lot of us are in a very low income bracket to where we can afford this kind of thing. Why a lot of us love to brag. When we are talking about the suicide and mental health overall, there are access problems we must consider, including the lack of access to quality medical insurance and education about how to locate a local mental health provider, and factors such as poverty, lack of medical insurance, and lack of culturally conscious medical providers only makes matters worse. What did I just say? Archetypes. She basically stated that it's a cultural problem. It's a economic problem. Let's see. Oh yeah, let's read this because a lot of us think we all that. Let me read this. This is very important. According to the American Psychological Association, 2005 U.S. Census Bureau data shows that Black people were more than 7 times more likely to live in neighborhoods with high rates of poverty and little to no access to mental health care compared with white people, despite having the same risk of mental illness. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and sound like a conspiracy theorist when I say this. That is by design. That is by design. I mean, it's like when you do stuff for decades, like close off close off opportunities. I mean, which we really live in a capitalist society, so we've gotten ever since those times we've gotten access to better opportunity. Thank God. Um, you know, is like when they put poor single mothers in neighborhoods, and really put them in shitty conditions. What do you think is going to happen to the children? They're just going to call that kid a bad kid. They're not going to think that something is actually wrong with them. All they're going to do is get them a damn Ritalin prescription and shove prescription down his fucking throat. So yeah, it's very like what she needed to add is competent therapy, a competent approach. Oh, here we go. 4. Black people continually face racism and discrimination. Here's one easy way out of that. Stop caring about what the crackers think. Stop trying to get them to like you. That is a really big problem. You got people whose minds been made up for decades. No, not decades, centuries. Now, like I said, a lot of people aren't as strong as I am mentally. Some of us don't have the wherewithal to say that. But I've had a huge, deep problem with people always looking for acceptance. And if you spend your time looking for that acceptance from racists instead of trying to get your own shit straight or trying to be amongst your own people, then it's going to drag you down mentally. That is just all there is to it. Let me tell you something. I learned about racism and all the awful shit that it did beyond slavery early in my life. So, and plus, I had parents that didn't play that shit. So I had that lesson in racism. I wasn't one of those that said, oh, it's not like that anymore. I always looked at them with a side eye. This is why I probably have more problems with the Democratic Party than a normal black person would. But I mean, there's a lot of people in this space that's pretty enlightening on shit like that because it just seems like that it's just some big old acceptance doctrine. That's the racism part. Now, the discrimination part can be systemic. In 2022, if we just supported each other as blacks, we wouldn't have to go through them. But hey, because we're hung up like that, we still got to go through them for stuff. What I'm saying is, number 4 is easier to get around than you think. These are just reasons, they're not saying actual cases of people who kill themselves because they face racial discrimination. Oh, wow, that's perfect. I think I got a camera angle for when I actually, I'm thinking out loud, for when I actually start to go live and start camming up. But back to, okay. Now we're saying the murder of George Floyd in 2020 sparked national protest against racism in the United States, which black people have faced for centuries. Okay, so we can acknowledge that in articles, journals, medical entries, political entries, and all of that, but there's never really any good forward motion to put this to a stop. Because in order to do that, you're going to have to go inside the heads of people and rewire them, and that is impossible. So that's it. I'm a little iffy on this reason right here because we should be beyond trying to get people to accept us and to get people to stop being people. Now, if you disagree, just let me know in the comments or let me know in the chat. But this sounds like some BLM stuff. They're using George Floyd. I mean, George Floyd ain't the only thing that happened racist wise. It was indeed polarizing and it was a shocker because you watch a cop put his knee on a man's neck like he's a fucking animal. And like that was very, very fucked up. Okay, number 5. Many black people are frequently exposed to violence. Hmm. Uh, um, Many black people are frequently exposed to violence. Well, that isn't really a suicide issue. That's more of a murder issue. If you lost someone due to violence and it took its toll on you mentally, I get that. I get that, but it's not going to be we more so try to get away from the violence, I would say. But we got a lot of people that ain't shit out here. But let's read through this for a second. I mean, exposed to violence. America's a violent society. Everyone is exposed to violence. Why is it that, I agree with some sentiments of this article, but I don't want black people looking weak in an attempt to examine this problem. It says, although not all black people live in impoverished or physically dangerous environments caused by social issues such as structural racism, and look at this, and look, if structural racism, if you want that to stop, why don't we as a people start looking at who we're voting for instead of looking at whether they're a Democrat or a Republican? Like racism, continued exposure to violence may factor into increasing suicide, so it's not a definite. Witnessing violence and living in communities with increased number of violent crimes is another aspect of trauma that leads to increasing suicide rates among black people. Hmm. So I'm gonna go to the comments. Are y'all agreeing with these 5 reasons that they said? Let's go over the 5 reasons again. Then we'll get back to the conversation. Well, so all right. So do y'all agree with the social media reason? I believe that's a scapegoat. It's like anyone strong enough to tell a person "fuck you." Now I would say that some of us aren't, but many of us are. I know I've done it many times. Number 2, mental health stigma impedes black people from seeking help. I do agree with that reason. I do agree with that. Number 3, treatment is often less accessible to black people. Hmm. Yeah, we rib each other. We joke on each other about that. Number 4, black people continually face racism and discrimination. Um, Look, that might be a reason, but I don't want us to be thought of as a weak people. We keep calling ourselves these strong and resilient folks. But and number 5, many black people are frequently exposed to violence. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Now let's talk about that stigma for a second. And I mean, like this is not supposed to be an entire conversation about suicide, more so mental and psychological help, because a lot of people that need this therapy and need this help aren't suicidal. But this is just very important that I shared this article with y'all, just to show you that this is what they are saying. And this is the opinion of a psychiatrist. Now, let me see if I can find this psychiatrist, what they say her name was. Uh, Patrice Harris, MD, former president of the American Medical Association. Let's see. Let me look it up. Let me Google it real quick. Because, I just read a whole article and I didn't even know whether this person was black or not, or whether they could have some true empathy. Patrice Harris. Okay, this is Patrice Harris. Damn, did they say she's 62 years old? She's 62 and she looking like that? I don't know, maybe that's a younger picture, but she does give heed to the whole black don't crack thing. But this is Patrice Harris right here. I can understand if a lot of y'all don't exactly trust her based on her gender or whatever. But I wouldn't say, because we black men always don't want everybody to paint us with the same brush. Let's just give her the benefit of the doubt. Because see, but I'm just showing you that's her as the person who, came up with these 5 reasons. And you don't have to agree with her based on her credentials. Just like you don't have to agree with anyone based on their credentials. A lot of people in these social media streets have a hard time accepting stats. So, why would I tell you you got to accept what she says? But at the same time, I do kind of give heed. I do kind of give heed to the things that she broke down in this article, and it does deserve and it does deserve a serious look. We should be the ones that are able to deal with this better and more than anyone. All right, so let's look at some of these comments. Okay, hopefully all of y'all press like while y'all in here. Okay, wow, y'all been chatting it up. Shoot, so let me get some shout outs here. Rael in the building. What's going on? We got D, Rogish the Billmonger. What's going on? Rogish says, respect Spain, man. Morbid as fuck, but it was the best thing that I could have done in my life at that moment because I took total control, rash yet, but control all the same. It made me fearless. All righty. All right, what's going on, Rogish? I might drop this link, but I ain't gonna be up here too long. Dane won. Oh, okay. God damn. That's look, guys. If it ain't true, I wouldn't take that name calling too seriously. All right. Says trust. D says trust self. Trusted creator. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's therapy for a lot of people. Trusting in God. People like trusting in God has got them through many things. Roguish to build monger. I definitely got lucky because the development I attained 13 years later has been totally worth the strain. Hmm. Yeah, sometimes adversity strengthens your resolve and your character. But, one thing that I wish is that everybody could have the same strength and resolve, but unfortunately, a lot of us don't. RPM said, I never cared about fitting in. I got tired of busting heads because I did. Yeah, I don't know. I would say fitting in is more so for children rather than adults. If you are a strong, level-headed adult, you shouldn't be worried about fitting in anyway. But some people do, and it's like one thing that we can do is, focus on the emotional health of our children. If you have kids, I mean, I'm not saying that you should do things that you aren't obligated to, but it's very important that we make sure that at least the next generation has a clearer path to mental wellness and happiness than we did. Because if you're sitting up here right now, you made it. I was on Facebook 7.5 years after its launch. No robo. Oh yeah, when I made that comment about Facebook, and Man, look. Sometimes I wish I never got on Facebook. It's just, man, I don't want to believe that many of us are that fucking oblivious to each other. Low key cats are targeted. Low key cats are targeted because we are not quick to unalive individuals. Do you say you're dealing with a stalker right now? Yeah, those stalkers are nuts, especially on the internet. You know, they think a Wi-Fi connection makes them untouchable. I've known people to pull up on people for that shit. I mean, it is life is no joke at times. Raw L said, I was reading on anger management, and the clinical psychologist, white guy, said the myth of the angry black man is just that, a myth. We're the only group who aren't allowed to express anger. Let me tell you something. When I step out into that world, I know if I even give a hint that I feel some discontent with something, then it raises eyebrows. Imagine you having to control yourself every minute so people won't be like, you know, and thinking that violence is the solution to putting you away. Like, I understand that shit. I understand that. I understand that you have to carry yourself a certain way, especially if you're a black person in America. Said in America, white women and black women can express anger, but not black. Yeah, exactly. I don't give a fuck who says though or has some type of objection to it. Yes, they're allowed to express anger because they're seen as non-threatening individuals physically. Cortez Smith, what's going on, man? Good to see you. He said, definitely by design. Yeah, those impoverished conditions that lead to psychological problems that may cause, violence, because frustration does bring violence. Yeah, it's by design. Your black ass was never meant to succeed in this society. Shit, they were even to the point where we couldn't even like it was against a lot of us to know how to read. Like that's how bad it was. Hybrid catastrophic impact X83rd power. What's going on? Says we in the building. There goes the neighborhood. Exactly. Shoot. Said as soon as they bring up George Floyd, I smell BS in this article. Sir-ism. Some of these dudes do need therapy and some pussy ASAP. See, there's the problem right there. I mean, I get the therapy, but if sex was a big problem solver, why you still got these brothers out here wilding out? I mean, some dudes could be getting all the pussy in the world and still be a violent asshole, still be someone who negatively impacts those around him. Pussy ain't gonna stop that. Everybody act like pussy is like the greatest weed on the planet. Yeah, when you have a great experience, yeah. But what about the person that pussy is attached to? I mean, you fucking good, but then when you're fighting and shit right afterwards, like what the fuck? It's like, how's that good for your mental health? That's like drinking coffee then taking a Xanax. Like, it's like there's no logic to that. But I get what you're saying, bruh. If you take away all of the violence black exposed to each other, their exposure would be very small. Yeah, I would say that. A lot of that violence, like, it's not just a psychological issue, it's a self hate issue as well. A lot of black folks don't value themselves as black people. We don't. We should be valuing ourselves the most. It's plain and simple. When you take away fathers who put and yeah, this is a sentiment that is often expressed by haters, often expressed, by single moms who can't seem to control their sons. There's always the father ain't there, the father ain't there, the father ain't there. It's plain and simple. When you take away fathers who put foot in asses of sons and daughters who get out of line, you're gonna have a goofy troop of people. That means single mom policy has to end. Mm. Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, look at the stats. YAS4W. What is going on, my brother? Donnie is in the building. He said cap, cap. I wonder did he say that because of something I said or was something that was in the article? I mean, either way, if he disagrees with something, he has every right to. And I'm very mature about disagreement. Unless, of course, you're being a dickwad, then, that's a different story. Black people go looking for racism more than facing racism. Oh, okay. So that's basically, yeah, I was talking about the racism part. Sound like a woke psychiatrist to me. Okay. Yeah, so when I said something about the credibility of the article, yeah, I see that's where that's coming from. Hybrid catastrophic impact X83rd Power says these so called mental health specialists are just doing the bidding of all these government agendas. They will do what they can to keep black people indoctrinated. Gotta vet them carefully. Exactly. Well, I consider the source of anything, whether you find it on the internet, whether you find it on social media, whether you find it on mainstream media, because all of them motherfuckers can be very, very misleading to the average black man. Statistics are very different. Yeah, when I mentioned stats. Because Kev, stats ain't real numbers. A black woman actually said this. Yeah, I've had plenty of B dubs say that to me too. Stats aren't real numbers. Don't trust stats. But they'll trust that stat off of black women's blueprint that says that 60% of all black girls are touched inappropriately by a man before the age of 18. It usually be someone they know. And, that was a study that was conducted by a control group of 300 people. They were supposed to get to 1,000. But once they got to 300, I guess the number started getting lower, so they had to go release the information. And they released the information, and the FBI ran with it. The FBI. So, yeah. So, if they want to play that game, we can play that game too. Awareness while experiencing diversity is extremely important. Facts, D. Facts. Rael. Biologically, being an adult doesn't mean that adult doesn't think like a child. Plenty of physical adults who are children mentally. Yeah, absolutely. The Roger Report Live. Go check that brother out Monday through Friday mornings. Uh, Probably one of the most consistent people in this space. This is why black men and women need to be separated because most black women do need therapy. Not to mention white supremacy doesn't go after black women nor social media. I mean, shit. If let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something. And people are probably gonna be mad with me for saying this. If you accept the book from a bed wench that disparages black men completely, and then when it gets translated into film, you call it one of the greatest films of all time, then that definitely gives truth to that statement that Roger just said. Definitely. Cortez Smith, pussy ain't gonna solve any problem, bro. Pussy creates a lot of problems. More than solve them. It does. Nina think pussy can cure cancer. Cat is not life. Boy, I tell you the truth, man. Boy, I tell you, I tell y'all make these broadcasts almost as much as I do. Shit. Oh, the Cortez Smith. I hate that shit. Slow ass ninjas. Most dudes doing all the violence. The dudes who are getting all the women. Yep. Oh, okay. You're responding to what Sir Ism said. Oh yeah. Yeah, because like I said, a lot of violent cats out there. A lot of these rappers that keep getting killed, the ones that do the killing, they get a lot of pussy. It does not make them slow down. It does not make them settle down. It does not make them stop being violent. It does not make them stop being criminals. So that is something that we need to stop saying to brothers. Man, you just need you some pussy, man. The fuck out of here. Why you got all these old every time a girl stop fucking a dude, why does he go mentally crazy then? She didn't give him enough pussy for him to stop being crazy, so why even say that shit? Shoot. Say, look at R. Kelly's sex. Look at R. Kelly's sex was who he was, and look at him now. Yeah. Sex can lead to a lot of deviancy. And here it is. Since black fathers are considered the best and most black come from single mom households, it's clear to say that it ain't black fathers touching their own children. Yeah, they put that narrative out there with absolutely zero fucking proof. Zero proof. I was talking to a young lady one time. This was a few years ago. I had to call an Uber to get home. And this young lady was telling me, I don't know how we got to this point in the conversation. I forgot. I mean, but she was talking like, things that happened to me. I was touched inappropriately by my uncle. When a person says that, to not look like an insensitive dick, ask them was it the mother's brother or the father's brother, because that's exactly what I asked her. Then she went from her uncle to her aunt's boyfriend. They let dudes in their lives that touch their children and become in complete denial about it because they're getting some dick. No, it ain't black fathers doing that, but according to the sisterhood, black fathers are just the fucking worst. If she comes from a single mom household, she's guaranteed to have a psychological issue that varies to a degree, but there will be issues. D said, look at Bill Cosby also. Yeah. The minute a black man speaks about an issue, women are always like, "Why are you getting mad?" See, told you, like you can't deal with anything. You can't. You 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 are a person as a black man who is forced to have to be the strongest ever, and and you have to be the strongest because you have to pacify everyone else. Hoes get horny, niggas die. Tupac. Yeah, let's even talk about that. We can even talk about violence by proxy on that. Yeah, pussy has made guys commit violence by proxy. Um, let's see. Hybrid catastrophic impact X83rd Power says, Rahel, I've never met a black woman from a single mom home who did to some capacity have anger and emotional issues. Yeah, they'll talk about their mother. Oh yeah, getting back to the bed when they wrote that book that became a movie that black people said was one of the greatest black films of all time. She emotionally abused her daughter. It's like she was an abuser. I would tell B Dubs that she was an abuser. So why you give so much credence to her literary work? That she was an awful fucking person. You know what the response I got? Emotional abuse is not the same as abuse. I said that and then when I said to that person, it is extremely dumb as fuck for me to continue a conversation with you. We are done here. I know a load of killers personally, and I can even show their cases. They all were getting women. Yeah, because they like that bad boy lifestyle. You know, the guy that risk all, that say fuck all on everything. They love that shit. Like, we have got to stop saying that these guys are mentally unglued because they're not getting pussy. Seriously, get the fuck out of here with that shit. Some of the worst gangsters, some of the worst fucking killers are guys who get a lot of women. Rogish the Buildmonger says that rhetoric largely comes from motherfuckers who primarily been incarcerated and that has number one on the bucket list that didn't switch out for personal development or business planning. However, catastrophic impact its 83rd power says, like Tupac said, if you're dealing with a good female, that's cool. But if you're dealing with a bitch, you need to shake her ass and break her ass. LOL. Yeah. Yeah, it was also Tupac that said that the ladies are creating a generation of babies that hate the late, something like that. You know, I need to brush up on my Tupac. I was never really a person that memorized rap songs like that. I got a few in memory, but you know, my homeboy who was deceased, Jose, that motherfucker hear a song one time and have all the lyrics. So rest in peace to Jose. You said I don't know many black girls who were touched. 99% of black women acting crazy has nothing to do with being touched. Mm, yeah. But yeah, like that, and you know what though? That's a conversation that has been kept quiet in the alphabet community. Like you could talk to any, uh, okay, I'm a reference two creators, you know, that I'm very shaky on, but they both have had experience in being psychologists. I would say the first one is Dr. Umar Johnson. The second one is Michi X. Now, if I'm making a mistake by saying about Michi X, please forgive me. But both of them have said the same thing. Every alphabet person they have talked to, over 90% of them say that they were sexually molested. That's why I say this mental health conversation will never be full throttle. And YS4W say what movie? Let me give you a clue of what movie this is. Whoopi Goldberg, Danny Glover, who else? Shit, that's the only two names I need to say. Whoopi Goldberg and Danny Glover. Yeah, the writer of that film was a bad wench whose white husband divorced her, and she really was she really took an emotional toll on her daughter. Now, imagine having a lot of moms like that doing that to their children. Wait a minute, that shit already happens. I'm talking about The Color Purple. God damn it. Let's see. The Roger Report Live says, actually, I think most black women want their children to be sexually assaulted because it happens very often in the homes of single mothers. It cannot be an accident. Hey. All right. So we got RPM said, yeah, but the alphabets don't know that touching kids have always been a part of this shit, starting with the Greeks if you know their history. Rogish says, I don't know about everyone else's community, but within the black community, that BS comes from molestation. YS4W says, oh, the movie where the mama wasn't shit and left those kids with a pedo because she needed a man? Yep, that movie. That film. Pussy is very dangerous, especially in these times. False allegations, jealous ex-boyfriends, STDs, pregnancy scare me. B-Dubs rap, especially if she's a single mother, divorced, I could go on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, if and you know, you guys have all brought up some great points. if we're not willing to visit all the issues that we're discussing, not only in this chat itself, but a lot of the things that I brought up, then what in the fuck are you telling black men that black men need therapy? The only reason why a lot of these people say that black men need therapy, black men need to go see somebody, black men need to stop having podcasts, black men need to stop taking their angry words out on black women. Like the only reason why they say that is because they're trying to cover up their discrepancies. Now let me give a little credit to Roger for saying this. He said the reason why they saying black men need therapy is because they're trying to find yet another excuse to not let a black man lead. Because if you say we need therapy, all our suggestions go null and void. Stop being a slut. Stop having kids out of wedlock. You're supposed to be the leader. So what does that mean? I'm supposed to be the leader. Leaders don't shut up. Leaders don't do what the followers say. The followers do what the leader says. Get the fuck out of here with that. And they keep on coming up with these excuses. And then all it leads to all of them bitching all over social media as a way of venting. And they think they can vent, but we can't. Which is bullshit. Terry McMillan. Like, one thing that I noticed about black history that most of the females that are black history figures have been feminist book writers. I mean, there are some exceptions like Mary McLeod Bethune, Althea Gibson, Mae Jemison, women like that. But when you put people like Zora Neale Hurston and Alice Walker in the same category, you're full of it. You're full of it. They don't want cats to have conversation. Yeah, they like, yeah. Black men y'all need therapy. That's just another way of saying black man shut up. That's why the fuck they're saying it. They don't want to lead. They don't want a black man to lead them. Okay, fine. But when you fuck up, don't blame me. Don't blame black men as a collective. You got to eat those consequences. Cortez Smith, I've been saying this. Most B-dubs and black history books are white supremacists. Unfortunately. I mean, when you mention black men, they do this very daring physical feat like climb Mount Everest, or innovate open heart surgery, or invent the fucking traffic light, or something like that, or prolific leaders like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey, Ralph Abernathy, men like that who made it a Benjamin Banneker, Dred Scott. The Roger Report Live. The question about which parents' brother touched them you is an excellent question. The uncle is usually just the mother's boyfriend. Or just some random ass dude they fucking. I got a couple of news stories where, these mothers would leave these monsters around their children. I think one of the kids was named Dante Wright. Died trying to protecting his sister from her mom's boyfriend, who from his mom's boyfriend. Yeah, technically I was right saying her mom's boyfriend. But he was a little kid that was protecting his sister from his mom's boyfriend. And he beat the kid with a hammer to death. That shit happens way too much. And for the kids who survive such crap, yeah, you got a kid that is mentally wrecked. Cough, Madam C.J. Walker, cough. Yeah, because like Roger, you gotta ask that because most of these motherfuckers be full of shit. It was my uncle. They'll say it's his dad when it's a stepdad. Shit like that. And I mean, like, let's not liken those situations to the stepdaddy porno videos because if any of that shit is true, you ain't getting molested. But that is such a touchy subject, so let me not even, Cortez Smith, Madam C.J. Walker was literally in the Black History books for her white supremacist act. Too might be something worth doing research on. Might be something worth doing research on. Yeah. Let's see. Roguish. So let's call their bluff. Let's start getting therapy and see if they can adjust to the adjustment that we experience and see if they can find some support. LOL. Let me tell y'all something. In that Facebook group that I made, Black Men Being Brutally Honest with Everyone. And some of y'all may belong to a group that says Black Men Being Brutally Honest, but if Kevin, I don't want to say my last name, but a lot of y'all know it anyway. Um, if I didn't create that group, it's not the original group. But here's my point: the times that black men started supporting each other for our accomplishments, for just being all around productive individuals, or just trying to give another brother encouragement, you will always have someone like you always have one of these old pro tip, pro wax simps, or you'll probably have one of these bitter ass bitches starting to call it a circle jerk. And these be the same people that say black men need therapy. Oh, so now it's a circle jerk. Black men supporting each other, doing everything but trying to fight and kill each other. It's a circle jerk now. We got some dumbass motherfuckers in our community. Which brings me to the reason like why I wish I like sometimes I wish I didn't join Facebook. But when you take the red pill, as they say, um, you don't have a choice but to accept the truth. And the truth of the matter is that black people at large are the last motherfuckers that should be telling black men to get therapy. The last ones. Especially if you're the central cause as to why said black men need therapy. I don't need the source of my angst, the source of the shit that I go through to sit up there and tell me that I need therapy because I'm holding you accountable for being a bitch or a bitch ass nigga. You need to work out whatever issue you got. Yeah, my issue is you. Get the fuck out my fucking face. Be that blunt with them, people. Don't sugarcoat it. Don't make it any less than what it is. Ozzy Oz, welcome to the channel. I hope you're subscribed. This live is good therapy right here. It's like barbershop improved. And I'm not gonna ever claim that I'm a therapist or a psychologist or a YouTube psychologist, as they say. I'm just a average black man. That's what I am. All right, we got namesake Big Kev 9539. These woke B-dubs whining about uplifting black women almost never talk about any of the black women inventors, scientists, or high-performing athletes. And we got some, well, they talk about Serena, but see, they don't bring up Serena as like, oh, she's a beast on the tennis court. They bring up Serena because of her white husband. All right, I appreciate it, Ozzy Oz. Welcome to the fray. We got some pretty. I got a pretty mature crowd that participates in these chats. I mean, a lot of people do seek out the volatility and the ratchetness. That's not what I'm about. And if that means that I don't attract like too many people at first, then I believe it's worth it. It helps me understand that I'm doing things the right way. So Zeke the Prospector, what's going on? They don't talk about FloJo because she respected black men. What is up with that? Like, what is up with that? Every time a black woman has respect for a black man, they view her as an enemy for some reason. Like Iona Van Zant. Hell, I ain't like Iona Van Zant at first. But when she said black women were out of order, they were done with her. Period. They were done. Cortez Smith, they pushed feminism and black history by forcing women on us. There was no need for most of them to be talked about. They were not important. Exactly. Exactly. All they served was to tell that all. In fact, let me bring this up real quick because I saw a certain Miss Andress that is a YouTuber. She was like, white men were gonna give black men the right to vote before they were gonna give it to black men, black women. Let that sink in. She was saying to let that sink in. And the fucking problem that I have with that bullshit when they express it like that is that, but well, why are y'all assuming that black men had a hand in that decision? Like we went to the white man and say, don't let them bitches vote. We had shit to do with that. Y'all be talking about these almighty, all powerful white men like they're just Vikings and shit with tons of money. Shoot, how do y'all assume that black men, even in those times, were plotting against black women with white men? That is the stupidest fucking thing I ever heard. RPM, black women have been weaponized against their own community and everyone can see it except them. There are some women that can see it and they are despised by other black women. Shoot, let me tell you something. My habitual line says a sister. Sister George, she sometimes told that line in between, like I said, a lot of people don't trust her because of who she, because just based on the fact that she's a black woman and she has, like I said, does some questionable trolling at times. But the second she'll tell you herself, the second she try to put a sister in check or talk to women, she gets the most vile pushback that a woman can ever receive or not even expect from another woman. Hell, I saw Toya the Tutor and goddamn Mahogany Roots and MJ make an exchange on the Roger Report. And Mahogany was acting as if Toya was supposed to be on her side based on the fact that she was a female. I can't stand this notion like they're saying that we're pushing the gender war. But every time there's a female that decides, hey, let's talk to the brothers, they call them mammy and a pick me. So for the brother who doesn't think he's worth anything after he hears something like that, shit, he's sinking down even further. You don't get to disrespect me. You don't get to disrespect a person free and fucking clear. You don't. and expect everything to be all good at the end of it. Oh man, stop being so sensitive. Stop telling niggas to stop being so sensitive when you're acting like a bitch. Stop. And don't do it in my presence because it won't be pretty. And hybrid catastrophic impact is 83rd power. They don't know about the history. They don't know that voting came with selective service and signing up for the military draft, which is why women didn't want to vote. Yeah. So somebody go tell Nyla's stupid ass that. You know, Taz's wife, Nyla. You know, a black man who is supposedly married to one of the biggest misandrists on YouTube. And it's not misandry for white men, it's misandry for the brothers. Yeah, voting did come with selective service. Look, look. Why is a person even all that upset that a dude that is going SYSBM? They will say that black men are a group that they don't respect, yet they get mad at them for going MGTOW and SBYSBM and getting passports. I would say make it make sense, but that does not make any fucking sense. You can't make it make sense when it's that fucking retarded. All right. Well, Zeke the prospector said it's projection at black men being brutally honest, hence RPM statement. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was the statement that he was responding to. I mean, seriously, you're being told you're being told that you need therapy by a group of women that constantly reinforce that they do not respect you as a black man. Constantly. And I'm sorry to hear it. And I'm sorry to hear it. No, nobody should be subjected to. And see, here's why it has affected black men so much. Black men love black women. Black men absolutely love black women. I know some of y'all don't because of your experiences. But let one of them Instagram models start a relationship with you. Oh, I'm ready to depart the lifestyle. Oh my God. You have done it for me. And you'll do a 180 in attitude. And when she drop your black ass, I mean, she could just be like, she could be the one. She drop you, guess what? Your ass is sinking. You have to be strong enough to not sink. Hybrid catastrophic impact is 83rd power. It annoys me when they try to rewrite history to fit their narrative and then over exaggerate events. That's sad but true. RPM says it's obvious that they're mad because deep down they know that no one else on earth will put up with their delusions and bad behaviors. Exactly. Exactly. Like, I remember Issa Rae promoted this book about swirling. And what they tell these women in this book is, well, you don't have to treat black men good, but you gotta act feminine for white men if you want one. Because they won't put up with the attitude. So sit on that for a second. They hate passport bros because it's low key rejection. These women feel rejected, and women can't handle it. No, they can't. No, they can't. All I'm saying is this: if y'all complaining about these dudes going to get pussy, I mean, these are for the women now. Me and Donnie, I'm not gonna even front like we had that conversation where we were kind of taking jabs at passport bros. We did have a conversation like that. But at the end of the day, it's a man's business what he does with his dick. Why are y'all so mad at the passport bros? Why are y'all so mad? Y'all don't respect black men, so if black men get a passport, so what? According to you, he did you a favor. You don't respect him. He doesn't want anything to do with you. It works out for both. Ozzy Oz said, Kev, you're right. We love black women. I'm just wondering where this new wave of hate from black women come from. Feminism. Feminism, listening to black women half their age on the fucking internet, talking about black men bad. Being all, every time they were given the floor by a white platform, they went in on brothers. Well, Trail Bentley, what's going on? I'll be seeing you over there in Rogers chat. So what it is, bro? He's at one BJ away from turning blue. Yeah, a lot of these dudes will stick their chest out and talk about their red pill, red pill, red pill. Second a woman throw it on them. Oh my god. And I said that about most of them. Like most of these dudes that got this rage inside of them, not most, I'm sorry, because a lot of these brothers are being sensible. But a lot of these brothers, man, let me tell you something. They'll talk that shit, but as soon as some heart shaped butt cheek spread in front of them, they'll forget who they are. Yeah, hybrid catastrophic impact X83rd power looking like he would have answered that question the way I did. Uzi. It's Ozzy. Let's say Uzi. Yeah, that was just a typo though. The feminist movement and indoctrination character assassination of black men from mainstream media has something to do with the hatred. Yeah. Yeah. The fact that we didn't drop bags of money in their laps when the going got tough. Now they consider us like defeated losers, the conquered and all that stuff. All righty. Zeke the prospector, thanks for the cash app. Says salute, fam. First time donation. I appreciate it, bro. I really do. I appreciate any support I get. And I'm not gonna even lie. I need a new laptop. That's why I was like 20 minutes late. I was like, damn. But I mean, shoot, that's at the end of the day, that's my responsibility. But you know what? Every little bit helps, and everything you guys do, super chats, cash apps, pressing the like button, participating in the chat, watching these broadcasts so I can get in the algorithm, all of that stuff is appreciated, all of it. So thank you once again, Zeke. Says you're right, just weird because it's been a big jump on my third lately. My third notice. Yeah. Let's see. All right, guys. I believe that I was about to get out of here. Like, I'm gonna tomorrow night probably do a reaction to Yamanika and her diatribe about black men because Megan Thee Stallion is embarrassing the hell out of herself. And I think that we need a sensible black man such as myself and some of the guys that frequent this channel to give our perspective on it. Because here's the thing about people like Yamanika. I might even do that later tonight. I don't know. It's like this is that hatred that let me see. This is that hatred that Ozzy Oz was he didn't understand where all the hatred came from. Yamanika put that hatred on full display. So hopefully I can get an ensemble panel together. You know, somebody like a Rogish or somebody like a Donnie, or it'll be really special to have somebody like Roger around for that reaction. But I mean, I'm fully prepared to do it by myself if need be. I do understand that people do have lives, so yeah, and I believe that it's important that we talk about that because this is something that not only is a problem with people like Yamanika, but this is a widespread mentality. Yeah. Diaspora L, what's going on? Good to see you. Mr. Z went in on Yam the comedian. Yeah. I don't know. Something is always about these hateful big black women that, because I mean, there's several of them out here. I mean, you got Brittany Cooper, Stacey Abrams, Dulce Sloan. Yeah. You know what though? You know what though? Maybe we do need to talk about that case. I mean, that shit is hilarious. And maybe I feel like that I need to atone for the fact that I didn't give Tory Lanez a chance to get his side of the story out before I passed judgment at first. But it taught me a valuable lesson. So okay, let's just go over the topic for like a final statement. Black men need therapy, then why the fuck are you saying it? Um when someone tells you that black men need therapy, please consider the source. I'll say that. Consider the source because you may be finding yourself in a situation where you're being gaslit. And that's never good. The reason for these spaces in existence is to give you guys the warnings, or maybe to give you guys something that you haven't thought about when you offer your perspective on situations such as these. You know, maybe is a bunch of maybe you could offer me a perspective that I didn't even think about. But it does that's what's called development and growth. I mean, you never stop learning. You're always able to educate. I mean, you can educate yourself. You can go look up some of this stuff yourselves. But consider the source because it is a really fucked up thing to tell a black man that he needs therapy based on the fact that he's saying things that you don't like, or maybe the person that says he needs the therapy is the source of why he needs the therapy. And the black community has been very good in making sure that black men are mentally unglued. And it's a fucking shame and it's a betrayal. And if you feel betrayed, you are feeling an accurate feeling. Because for everything that we have been through as a people, for this kind of bullshit to continue, it just it warps your sensibilities. It makes you think and believe that maybe I've been playing for the wrong team this whole time. And that's a damn shame. But hey, we live and we learn at the end of the day. So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in once again. Thank you to people like Spain Man for coming through, Diaspora L, Hybrid Catastrophic Impact X83rd Power as always, RPM Cortez Smith, Rogish the Buildmonger, Donnie and Roger, my habitual line stepper brothers. You guys are my key motivation at this point. So just want to let you know you guys are special. And look, and if you see a black man, he has sort of an angry disposition. I mean, I would say don't do anything to incite the man. Rather, have some empathy and understanding that there may be a deeper issue going on there. And I'm not saying just give that benefit to black men. What I'm saying is give black men a benefit that he probably does not receive from anyone. You have no idea how much that can help. But anyway, We're done here for now. Yeah. Spain man accuracy. Oh yeah, you got the black lion from Voltron on your avatar. Yeah, Voltron, cool shit. But he said therapy is usually a get out of accountability card for black women. Chaos Rain, always coming in when the broadcast is about to come to a close. Alan Stranger, what is up? Zeke the Proc says a good show. I appreciate that. And with that being said, I'm out. So long live the habitual line steppers. In Kev we trust. And when you don't give up, you win. All right. Peace out till the next time.